In this video, we're going to be talking about how to lose weight with less effort. First of all, is it even possible? And if it is, you know you want to do it, so you're in the right place. Well, let me start by saying, yes, it is possible. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly not only how to do it, but how you can do it. But before we even get into that, the first thing you have to understand when it comes to losing weight, getting in shape, putting in muscle, whatever it is that you want to do personally for yourself, if you're really serious about that, if that's something that you really want to do, you have to make a decision. And this is where people get lost in the sauce from the very get-go. They never make a hardcore decision. They never actually decide, this is what I'm going to do no matter what. And until you do that, everything else I tell you, it's not going to matter. Everything I tell you, it's not going to work. And it's not going to work because you're not committed. It's not going to work because things are going to come up. Things are going to get in a way that are going to sidetrack you. But if you do this first part, losing weight will be easier. Losing weight will be so much more simpler. But you have to first do the first part. And what that is deciding, why do you actually want to lose the weight? And I'm not talking about a superficial top of the surface, egotistical reason. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm not talking about because how you're going to look. Yes, all of that is going to come along with it, but what is it costing you right now to carry the extra weight? Why do you even want to lose the weight in the first place? Is it, I don't know, maybe you're having a hard time playing with your kids now. Maybe you just don't have the energy. And have the energy for what? Like, you go to work, you have a long day at work, you come home, you just don't have the energy to do anything, whether that's play with your kids, spend time, quality time with your kids, quality time with your wife. You just don't feel like it. Maybe you're sick of waking up every single day taking medications. I don't know what the reason is. Maybe you're borderline diabetic. I don't know. But what pain is it causing you to carry the extra weight? Because if no pain is associated with you carrying the extra weight, you're not going to lose the weight. You're just not going to do it. So before we can talk about how you can lose weight with less effort, you got to get clear on this part. So hopefully that has gotten your mind kind of going like, you know what, I'm going to get clear. You know what, I'm going to really make a decision why I want to actually lose the weight. All right, so hopefully you're at that point. So now that you're at that point, how do we go about losing weight with less effort? It almost sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not, because we see tons of people do things like this in other aspects of life. I'm going to give you an example, great example. So one of my favorite basketball players is Michael Jordan. For me, he's the best basketball player of all time. I mean, some of you guys may disagree with that, but for me, he's just the best of all time. Well, how does Michael Jordan make basketball look so easy? How does Michael Jordan make winning look like effortlessly? Like, it just looks like he's not even trying, right? He just goes out there and dominating. Is it because he's taller than everybody else? No. Is it because he's faster than everybody else? No. We all know those aren't the reasons why. Well, what is it? Why is it that when Michael Jordan goes and faces other professional athletes, he makes it look effortlessly? Well, because he's mastered the basics. The same thing goes with weight loss. The same thing goes for you. If you learn to master the basics, losing weight becomes very simple. Losing weight becomes effortless. It really does. But if we're going to master the basics, what exactly are the basics? Well, I'm going to give you 3 things to focus on, 3 things to work on, that if you master these 3 things, it will become effortless for you watching. Here's the coolest thing about this. After it becomes effortless, and because you made that decision, this is what you're going to do, you know why you're going to do it, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before you become that person that you've always wanted to be. that you become that person that you've been trying to be for so long, but you just haven't been able to do. So what are the three areas? So the first one is your mental, your mindset. And I'm going to go in depth on these. The second one is physically what you do to your body. And the third thing is what you put into your body. These are the three areas and the only areas you need to concentrate on to get whatever result it is you want. So whether you're looking to lose weight, put on muscle, the result doesn't matter. In this particular case, we're talking about losing weight, but it doesn't matter. These are the three areas that everyone needs to focus on in order to change anything about how you physically look, in order to change anything about how your body physically is. So your mental, your mindset, the 6 inches between your ears. What do you need to do to make sure that's headed in the right direction as opposed to the wrong direction? Because most people, their mindset has them moving in a wrong direction as opposed to the right direction. And that is because instead of most people being optimistic, a lot of people are pessimistic, meaning even from the jump, you're giving yourself an F before you took the test. Oh, you're not going to lose weight. You've done this before. This isn't going to work for you. It's not going to be effortless. You know how hard this is. You might as well quit now. Your negative self-talk checks you out from the get-go. You ask bad questions. Your inner dialogue is terrible. Well, it needs to change. It needs to change. And here's why it needs to change. Because your thoughts turn into actions. Your actions dictate your results. You're in full control. You are who you are and you are where you are because of what you've done. It's as simple as that. That's good news and bad news. The good news is it's completely up to you to change. You're in full control. The bad news is it's completely up to you to change. You're in full control. Nobody's coming to save you. So you have to start working on your mindset. You have to start working on becoming a better version of you. Don't chase the results. Don't chase what you want. Become the person you need to be that gets those kind of results. If you become the person that gets those type of results, it's game time. It's game over. It's just a matter of time before you actually get those results. So you have to get your mindset in alignment with the type of person who would have the results that you're going after. It's as simple as that. So wherever you're at, maybe you want to put on muscle, maybe you're trying to lose weight, whatever it is, let's say you're 60 pounds overweight. The mindset of someone who's 60 pounds overweight is completely different than the mindset from someone who's 60 pounds less. So what you need to do is start thinking as if, or from the standpoint that someone that's 60 pounds lighter than you would come from. How would they approach going to the gym? How would they approach eating out with their friends? See, it's the way we think about things. It's the way we analyze things. It's our thought process that becomes our actions. And our actions, in turn, become our results. So if you want to change the results you're getting, you got to change your thought process. This is like foundational. You can't just skip ahead and go to the gym. Like, you have to master this. And here's the coolest thing about when you master this. When you master this, you master yourself. When you master this, you master your life. It's not just your health that's going to change. Your finances are going to change. Your relationships are going to change. Everything changes. Why does everything change? Because you change. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. So the first step is your mindset. So that's step number one. These are in no particular order because step number two is it's not number two because it's more important than number three, because it's not. It's number two because for most people, step two is actually easier than step three, believe it or not. And step three is what you do with your actual body. See, we live in a time where we're more sedative than we've ever been. We sit around and do nothing more than we've ever sat around and did nothing. So therefore, since we're not getting the kind of movement that we would have gotten just 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, we have to actually go out and exercise. We have to go to the gym. We have to do things outside our regular life to make sure we're getting the amount of steps we need to get, to make sure we're getting the amount of physical activity that we need to get. Now, when it comes to moving your body, this is one area that a lot of people lean heavy on, but it doesn't dictate your results as much as you would think. Right? I hesitate to even use the word working out. I just say get your body moving. Right? So for most people, if you just get your body moving, if you just get your body moving in the right direction, you're so much better off. You don't have to run out and do CrossFit. You don't have to run out and do these crazy workouts, but I do need you to get your body moving. What does that mean, get your body moving? Every step adds up. Instead of driving around the parking lot for 5 minutes looking for the nearest parking spot, park in the back. Instead of waiting 5 minutes for the elevator, take the stairs. These things accumulate. These things add up over time. Shoot for 12,000 steps a day. If you can hit 12,000 steps a day, and if you can get your mindset where it needs to be, you're so ahead of the game. You're so on track. Like you're making your way down to like weight loss. It's going to be effortlessly. You got your mindset under control. You're physically moving your body, right? And all of this has to be done consistently. It's not what you do once. It's what do you do consistently? What do you do over time? What do you do for the long haul? It's great. You did it your first day. That's awesome. That's incredible. You're going to have to do it again. Great. Awesome. You crushed your first week. That's amazing. You're going to have to do it again. And you're going to have to do it again. And you're going to have to do it again. Till when? I don't know. But here's what I can tell you. The better you get at controlling your mindset, the easier it gets. The more discipline you get at moving your body, the easier it gets. And here's why it gets easier. It doesn't get easier in the way that you're thinking it gets easier. It's still physically hard. Matter of fact, that gets harder. What makes it easier is you have two things working for you and against you when you first start. You have one voice in your head that's telling you you can't do it, you're not strong enough, you're going to die, it's a dumb idea, who does this anyway, it's not that important. It's this weak little crybaby, poopy pants, just weenie whiny voice. There's that voice. And you know what you know what voice I'm talking about. I don't know what your voice sounds like in your head, but I can tell you, it sounds like a sissy version of you. It sounds like this soft, weak, docile version of you. That voice. You have that voice in your head. And then you have this other voice. The other voice is much more powerful. The other voice is much more positive. The other voice is much more determined. The clarity in the voice is different. The tone is different. It's deeper. It's more confident. These are the two voices that everyone has in their head. How do I know you have these voices? Because I have these voices, as do all the clients that I've had in my 13 years of experience. Everybody has these two voices. The problem is when we first start, you know what the loudest one is? You know which voice is the loudest when you first start? The voice that's the loudest when you first start, it's the weak, crybaby, sissy pants, take me back home, where's my mommy voice. That voice is the loudest. Matter of fact, that voice is so loud, screams to you, screaming at you. It's the loudest voice. The other one, it's almost silent. A lot of times it is silent. And that voice is silent. And a lot of times that voice, it doesn't know what to say. Doesn't know what to do. Because this is all new. This is undocumented territory. But again, as you become consistent, as you keep putting in the work, as you put in the reps, time under tension, that's the strong voice, the confident voice, it becomes louder. It becomes stronger and louder. It becomes stronger and louder. The more work you put in. Every time you go to the gym, every time you say no to something that you want to say yes to, but you know it's not taking you towards your goals, every time you exercise discipline, that voice gets stronger. And as that voice gets stronger, that voice now tends to tell this voice to shut up. The loud, confident, secure voice, your true self. As that confidence grows, you just learn to tell this one to shh, don't talk. Go back to sleep. I got this. And it starts becoming a little bit easier and a little bit easier. So you have your mindset solid. You're moving your body physically solid. You master it. So what's the third thing? The third thing is what you actually put in your body, whether it's regular food, whether it's supplements, or whether it's how you hydrate yourself. It's what you put in your body that's going to energize you, that's going to give you the energy to go through the day and do what you need to do. See, the purpose of food, the main driving force for food, the reason that we need to eat, the reason that we have to eat is because food provides energy. Food keeps us alive. Food is what gives us the energy to go do what we need to do in our everyday life. But along the way, we've gotten confused. Along the way, we've gotten sidetracked, and we've bought the belief that food is this, it's this thing to enjoy with your friends. It's this tasty pleasure. And I'm not saying it's not those things, because we all know it is. I'm not saying don't enjoy those things, but the actual regular the reason for food is for energy. It's an energy source. So since food is an energy source and that is the primary reason, it's very important you're putting good stuff in your body at some point, at least to some extent. So I'm going to give you a very easy formula to follow. And I like to use this formula because I remember when I first started on my own journey, I was at a seminar and I remember this like it was yesterday. They were explaining proteins, carbs, and fats. They might as well have been on stage talking about how to send a man to the moon in a personally built spaceship. It would have made more sense. I was so confused. And not only was I so confused, I was so embarrassed because as I looked right and I looked left, it seemed as if everybody else knew the information. I know they didn't know it because I could tell by looking at them. They didn't know it. But to me, I was like so confused. I was like, you know what? I need something easier. I need an easy way to think about this. Or I need something that, again, my brain, I'm all over the place. I squirrel all the time. I needed something that I could bite down on. I needed something that I didn't have to think. So I came up with the 80-15-5 rule. And the 80-15-5 rule is just a very simple way to start moving in the right direction. It's a very simple way to start getting the results that you actually want. It's a very simple way to get started today, moving in the right direction. So tomorrow, next week, when you step on a scale, you start seeing numbers that you want to see. You start seeing numbers that you like. You start seeing numbers that are moving in the right direction. So the 80-15-5 rule goes just like this. And it's so simple. When I tell you, it's going to blow your mind. 80% of the food you eat is completely healthy. No one can argue it, right? So whether you talk to someone that knew nothing about nutrition or you talk to a nutritionist, they would both equally say this group of foods is good for you. That's the 80%. 80% of the time, those are the foods you eat. Then 15% of the time, you eat foods that I call questionable. What are questionable foods? Well, questionable foods are, depending on who you ask or when you ask or how they're feeling or what their mood is, it could be good for you. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Some people say it is, some people say it's not. There's a lot of confusion in this group, right? And we all know that. We all know there's certain foods that some people say they're good for you, other people maybe not. So there's some confusion around it. Well, 15% of the time you spend eating these foods. So 80% on foods that no one questions. We all know they're healthy for you. 15% of the time you spend on foods that are questionable, depending on who you ask. 5% of the time, now 5% of the time, that's spent on the food that everybody knows it's not in no way, shape, or form healthy for you, but it tastes amazing. Tastes wonderful. It tastes magically delicious. Now again, notice what I'm saying. Everybody knows this group of food is not good for you. No one is going to argue that these are healthy. But they taste absolutely amazing. It tastes so good. And here's why I say this. Because a lot of times people spend time and calories eating junk food. And when I say junk food, food that they don't even like, food that's not even that good. So if you're going to eat something that doesn't serve you in terms of energizing your body, at least make it sure it serves you from a taste standpoint, right? Like, have you ever ate something that you knew was not good for you, and then after you ate it, you instantly regretted it? And you instantly regretted it, and here's why. Not just because it was not the best for you. You knew that before you ate it. You instantly regretted it. It instantly said, I shouldn't have ate that, because the cost of eating it didn't outweigh the sacrifice that you had to make. So it's very important when you eat this 5%, make sure you eat something that's so good and enjoy it. Enjoy every bit of it, right? So 80%, food that everybody knows, definitely healthy for you. No one's going to argue that. 15% of the time you spend eating food that's questionable. 5% of the time you spend eating food that it's not at all good for you. However, it tastes amazing. So you have all three parts. You have your mental, you have your mindset down, locked in. You have what you physically do to your body, how you move your body, the movement that you put in, locked in, down, solid. And then you have what you actually put into your body, what you eat, locked in, solid, mastered. So you've mastered all three areas. Once you master all three areas, losing weight becomes simple. Losing weight becomes something that you no longer have a hard time doing. It seems effortless. And it seems effortless not because the actual activity of losing weight got any easier. It's effortless because you got better. Which brings me back to where we started at the very beginning. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. It comes down to you. It comes down to you becoming the person that you need to be. You become the person that's deserving of whatever results it is that you're going for. And as soon as you become the person that's deserving of whatever results it is that you're going for, at that moment, that very moment, it now only comes down to time. It only comes down to time. Because you have the thoughts, which will then turn into the actions, which will then turn in the outcome of what you want. So, you have no excuses, you have the blueprint, and you know how to make it easy. Now all you have to do is get to work. But before you go, I'm going to link this video. I think it'll help you. Check it out. Click on it. Come on. Click on it. But before you do, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.